Yeah. Hi, we're Mark and Mel. After raising 4 amazing daughters who are now raising our 12 grandchildren and helping people on land in the real estate business for over 30 years, we're now realizing our goal of a year-long adventure cruising America's Great Loop on our boat Paradise. This is a 6,000-mile journey through waterways that include the Atlantic and Gulf Intercoastal Waterways, Great Lakes, Canadian Heritage Canals, and inland rivers of America's Midwest cities. Join us as we navigate over 100 locks, explore cities large and small, and experience an unforgettable journey through America's Great Loop. So this is the usual routine when we pump out and fuel up, which we're doing here before we leave. We just pumped out. So these are the two places where we open up with a smaller key and pump out the black tanks, I should say. There's one on either side, and the one, I think that the hole for the one that's further forward is for the aft head, and then the one that's behind that is for the forward head. Yeah. Yep.
Give me my headset and let's communicate. Grab my headset for me.
So I have my headset on still, but Mark likes to take his off, and now he wants it. So this is good.
Quietly talk to me about where we're at, gallons wise.
Yep. I do hear you. I never take my headset off. That's fine. Remember, you can always turn up and down the volume. And then, so anyway, he goes ahead and gets that. We've got about half a tank in here, and he's going to top it off because it's a pretty decent price here. And so we always try to get the best price of fuel possible along the loop. And you have to figure out where you're going to go. So I'm going to go ahead and tell him where we're at on gallons so he kind of knows. So we are headed down the intercoastal today. We're going to be going down, right down through there. We're not going out in the Gulf. We're going through the intercoastal, and we are going to head down past several nice beaches that look like a great place to visit, but we plan on anchoring out even south of Inglewood. Yesterday I thought we were going to go to Inglewood, but we are now going to go south further, so it's going to take us about 5 to 6 hours. Okay, we're trying something new. We had some of our channel subscribers and watchers say, you need to improve the sound. So, Mark got these cool little Movo, is it Movo? Mics?
M-O-V-O, I think that spells Movo.
Now, we just pumped out and fueled up before leaving Sarasota. And so we also have other channel watchers that are saying, how much is it taking you? How much are you paying, for fuel? Which is pretty hard to calculate. So far, we've come down the rivers, and by the way, there are going to be several videos that don't have great sound if this is working, because I can't go back on Midwest Swimmers and change that. But hopefully from now on, we have some good sound and these work. We're trying. That counts. We're trying. Babe, can you explain how much fuel we got this time and how much we're saving when we go at a slower speed, how much more fuel we're saving? We don't go very fast because we found that we save a lot of fuel. It's enjoyable. The engine's less loud when it's a lower RPM. Plus right now, this is actually the speed they want you at. So we're only going like 6 knots. Or is that miles per hour?
That's knots, but I just hadn't sped up yet. We just left a no-wake zone, and I was busy watching you and forgot to speed up.
Let's go over what we spent on gas and fuel.
Well, we just fueled up in Sarasota at Marina Jack, and we put 192 gallons of fuel in our tanks. Our boat holds 470 gallons total. I think it is, 236 gallons per tank, 2 tanks. But anyway, so we were not even half of what our fuel capacity is. But Mel was saying that we get better fuel going slower, which is the case for most boats. But one thing we've learned is that going a slower speed or slower engine RPM is not necessarily the most efficient speed for you to travel at to get the best miles per gallon. We don't have on our boat an easy way to measure our miles per gallon, so I doubt we'll ever do that accurately. But other boaters that we've traveled with and such have had the capability of measuring very precisely their fuel burn at a specific RPM. For example, one other boater we've traveled with a lot, Summer Fling, they have sight glasses on their fuel tanks where they can physically look at their fuel tanks, sit there next to their fuel tank and see exactly where the fuel level is, and they can mark it, temporarily, travel at a specific distance, and then see where it goes to, and then calculate how much fuel they use. We don't have the ability that I'm aware of to measure that precisely. So anyway, we have been traveling a lot on a single engine at a time. We have twin diesel engines. And the previous owner of our boat, who is a very experienced and retired yacht captain, told us one of the reasons he bought this boat was that the engine configuration with the specific transmissions that it has, which happen to be ZF transmissions, allow you to shut down one engine and let that, put it in neutral and let that unused propeller windmill. It does not cause any damage to the transmissions, whereas some engine or transmissions or engine transmission combinations, you cannot do that because it would damage the transmission. And I don't know the specific details of that, but that's the case, I understand. So we've been trying the single engine thing a lot. and there's no doubt, just anecdotally, without measuring it precisely, that we're using a whole lot less fuel. Because prior to the last fill up, we had been using single engine most of the time, like 90+% of the time. We only use both engines when we are in a situation where we're maneuvering, either into an anchorage or into a mooring ball or into in and out of a marina or gas dock or something like that, when we need both engines to maneuver. When we're just cruising, the single engine works great. We're on a single engine right now. We're running only the starboard engine, and we're actually only doing 6 knots, but we're at 1500 RPM, so we've got a strong current against us, apparently, because we would normally do 7 knots at 1500 RPM on one engine. So anyway, when we crossed the Gulf, we went with some other boats that wanted to travel a little faster than we're comfortable doing on a single engine. So we agreed to go ahead and travel with them at their speed, which was 8.5 to 9 knots. And we didn't feel comfortable running one engine at the higher RPM, which is 1800, that we would have needed to maintain that 8.5 to 9 knots. So we ran both engines the whole time. And over the course of 4 days, or 4 days of travel anyway, doing our hopscotch crossing around the Big Bend route, we burned about half of our 470 gallons of fuel was gone. And we had probably traveled close to twice that far prior to the fill-up, right before the Gulf crossing, because we were running one engine at a time. So I'm a huge fan of the single engine thing. So that's what we're planning to do. And then after the Gulf crossing, we decided that we're just going to tell people, if you want to travel together, 7 knots is about the best we're going to do. So we could travel together, but if you want to go faster, don't worry about it. Just go on ahead, and we'll catch up to you at our destination. So just now we put in less than half fuel at a pretty good price, $4.33 a gallon, including tax, which is about the cheapest along the Florida Gulf Coast here that we found looking at fuel reports. And it was still $850 or thereabouts for under 200 gallons of fuel. So it's the fuel savings is significant on the single engine thing. So
yeah, thanks. That really, I think, helps. It's not, you can't really come up with how much you burn, fuel per hour.
Well, we just don't have the physical ability here with the boat the way it's configured to measure precisely a very small amount of gas, how much or diesel fuel we've used. Now we can and we eventually will calculate what our miles per gallon are overall from over hundreds or thousands of miles, many hundreds or thousands of miles. That will be easy to do, but that's going to be based on that's not telling us what our fuel burn is at a specific engine RPM. That's just saying from point A to point B, where we ran very slow, very fast, and everything in between because of bridges and navigational challenges and traffic and that sort of thing, where we could figure our average fuel burn. But figuring out our precise fuel burn at a specific engine RPM it's just not, I don't know that there's a way to really do it precisely. If somebody watching this video wants to enlighten us as to how we might do that, so please do.
Yeah, because there's so many variables. And I did hear somebody the other day, they said that they were getting It was so low. It was less than 2 miles per gallon.
Well, the previous owner of the boat said that he measured it, and again, I don't know that he was able to be super precise, but with a single engine running at 1500 RPM, which yields right at 7 knots in over water. So non-current, that would be the same over land with no current.
Right.
He said that he measured it that it burns 2.8 gallons per hour. One engine at 1500 knots, pardon me, 1500 RPM, burns 2.8 gallons per hour. So it's not linear, but that means if we're running both engines at 7 knots, we're going to be a little less. By the way, with both engines running at the same time to make 7 knots, that's right around 1300 RPM, so about 200 RPM slower than a single engine to make 7 knots. But is 1300 RPM and 7 knots more fuel efficient, giving us better miles per gallon than the higher RPM at 1500? We don't know.
Yeah.
We just don't know that. In fact, we have 2 other boaters that have told us when they did measure their fuel consumption, specifically, both of them said they burn, they get better, higher miles per gallon running both engines at 1500 RPM than they do at 1300 RPM. So they're running at 15 RPM, they're going faster, and just that fuel burn and that speed equate to better miles per gallon.
Interesting.
So it's all very confusing.
It is very confusing. So biggest thing is we find the cheapest fuel along the way and take advantage of that. Where was the cheapest fuel so far?
Cheapest fuel we've paid for was at Carabel at Sea Quarters Marina. We paid $3.94 a gallon. And that was absolutely the cheapest. Next to that, the cheapest we paid was about $4.15 a gallon, and that was at Hammond, Indiana, right at the very beginning of our loop. And just now at Marina Jack, we paid $4.33, and we hadn't intended to fill up there. We were just stopping to pump out when we left. But when he told me the fuel price, initially I thought, no, it's going to be cheaper somewhere else, because Marina Jack itself, their slip price is one of the highest we've seen since we've been on the loop. So I anticipated that their fuel price would be similarly high. But it's not the case, because while we were doing the pump out, we looked at the fuel report from Waterway Guide for where we're at and beyond, where we might need fuel again. And there was only one marina that was a little cheaper in Punta Gorda, and it wasn't cheaper enough to not go ahead and fill up there. So that's why we filled up at $4.33 a gallon. And of course, over time, when people are watching this, the fuel prices might be very different by the time this is on the YouTube channel.
That's right.
So you can't count on those prices. Just it might give people an idea where the cheaper places are versus the more expensive places.
Right. And what is a good fuel price, stuff like that, especially if you're just starting out. Hopefully, if you find this helpful, please like and subscribe. We try to make it valuable information for you. And that heater comes in handy. And so I'll put the link down below.
Crow's Nest Marina, Crow's Nest Marina, Crow's Nest Marina. Paradise.
Paradise, go up to 7272, copy.
Paradise going to 72. This is Paradise on 72 for Crow's Nest Marina.
Go ahead, Paradise.
Yeah, we're just about to pass y'all, headed south, and thought we'd check and see if you have dockage for us for tonight.
What size is your vessel?
44-foot length, 15-foot beam.
Yes, sir. We can accommodate you for this evening. I actually had 2 cancellations.
Wow.
Very good. We're just around the corner from you. If you could give us directions to a slip, we'll swing back over that way.
And Mark said, Mel, and I ran up, and he goes, they have cancellations here. Do you want to stay? And I said, yes, I have never been to Venice Beach. I would love to explore, and we'll take it. So we got a slip here. So we're not anchoring out tonight, and it's a good thing because it's very windy. It's supposed to rain later. I don't know. I like anchoring now too. I like both. I like being at slips. But I've never been to Venice. So we're gonna go explore what's in Venice Beach right now. We're gonna explore and show you the marina here, the Crow's Nest, and our friends arrived too. And we loaned them our stairs so they could get off their boat easier at the last marina. So now we're going to get back our stairs from them. And she made some fabulous banana bread as a thank you. So thank you, Carmen and John, on Karma's Reward. So let's go check out this marina and Venice Beach.